Hey everybody, I just wanted to come up here and talk story to those of you who would join me or who would join me later. I am working, so I probably won't look directly at the camera because I gotta make that money and I gotta get my coins as well, which requires me to work. And when you work for yourself, you know you gotta do what you have to do, right? To bring them coins in. So, but I want to talk about reactions and reactions to actions, because what's so funny to me is that people feel they can do anything to you, but when you come back and react, there's the problem. You're the problem. But we have to go into every situation knowing that for our action, there's going to be a reaction. For anything that we do, there's going to be a response. If, if there's no response, someone has made a conscious effort to just ignore you or to ignore what we have done or said or is going to do. But for the most part, there's a reaction for every action. And it kills me when people think that you're always going to be the one that go high. You know, sometimes you got to go low a little bit to keep people from messing with you. I remember my grandma used to always say, we don't take no tea for coffee, which means you're not going to piss in my face and tell me it's raining. You just accept anything from you, because if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything. This is how I was raised as a child. My grandma was a Christian woman, but she didn't take no junk, you know. And my thing is, when you're raised like that, I don't understand why people think that you supposed to let everything slide. Now, I let a lot of stuff slide because I don't know what's going on with the internet, but I don't like a lot of fussing. I do not like a lot of arguing and all that stuff. I don't. Especially in relationships. Oh my goodness. If I'm with somebody and he argue all the time, every little thing is an argument, oh my gosh, that is such a turn off. If somebody trying to date me and everything becomes a verbal altercation, he can cancel Christmas on that. We are done, because I don't like all that arguing. I really don't. I like peace in my home. But back to the reactions, to the actions. You know, it's funny to me that everybody always say, and now this ain't nothing personal. This is nothing that happened to me recently. Well, some of it is, but I mean, I ain't mad at nobody. I'm just saying I wanted to talk about it because it's so easy for somebody to say, don't worry about it, write it off, ignore it, this, that, and the other. But you don't know all the time what that person is going through. You don't know their mentality. You don't know where they came from. You don't know how what somebody did affected them. But it's so easy to tell somebody else to keep moving and just ignore the people. And it's great advice. As a Christian woman, let me tell you, it's great advice to tell somebody to let go of that negativity. But when you got a person that deals with anger management, that's daily dealing with anger management, how do you just tell them to let something go? What you should be saying is, "Ooh, I'm so glad that you can handle this better. I'm so glad that you went off the deep end. I'm so glad that you're staying calm." That's the way you encourage a person. You don't tell them just let it go. You encourage them to continue to move forward instead of going back to a place where they've been, where they came out of, where they prayed to come from. You know, sometimes we don't know what type of advice to give. I'm just going to be honest. A lot of times we don't know what to say, because like I say, it's easier said than done. It's easier when the shoe is on the other foot. It's easier to say what somebody should have, would have, could have done. But a lot of times we need to think about certain things before we give advice. Just like when somebody lose somebody, the last thing you want to say to a grieving person is that they're in a better place. That is not proper to say. It's really not. Now, if the person that's grieving says it, it's different. But the last thing you want to say is they're in a better place. You just don't want to say that. And I know the word says to be absent from the bodies, to be present with the Lord. I know that, but that is just not what you want to say to a person that's grieving. You know, you have to be careful with what you're saying to people, because you may get the wrong reaction, and you're not going to understand that what you said was offensive. Because just think about it, you telling somebody that their loved one left them and they're better off for it, you know. And so people not trying to hear that. Same difference is when you're trying to correct somebody's behavior. A person that's used to going off and snapping, they're not trying to hear you tell them what they should be doing, dismissing their emotions and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you all, I don't mean no harm, but I get a lot of that. Now, let me tell you, there are some women out here that truly, truly cares about me. And, I mean, from different races as well. And I want to point that out because I want you to know we don't have to all look alike to care about each other. And I have women from different races that really care about me. And when they feel like I'm agitated, they reach out to me because they care about me, you know. And for the most part, I can control myself. But I do say what I want to say. I do get it out because I'm not the one to be playing with. You know, I'm just really not. And I thank God that when He called me, yes, He tamed me, but He didn't take away all of my bite, all of my little sting. And I appreciate that, because when I became a Christian, when I said I was going to serve the Lord, I was afraid that I was going to be a pushover. I was afraid that I would have to really, you know, straighten up and act right, y'all. I thought I was going to have to stop getting people straight. But it's just a matter of which you're getting them straight now. That's what it is now. It's not that you got to stop. It's just the manner in which you're getting the people straight. You know, you letting them know, hey, I'm not the one that you're going to be able to push over. Yes, I'm a Christian, but I'm a Christian that you're not going to be able to manipulate. And so, but to every action, there's a reaction. And just because a person say they're Christian does not mean they're not going to react to the dumb crap. And I have a habit of reacting to, most of the time, I can ignore it. But a lot of times I can't react to the dumb crap. And I can't ignore the dumb crap. One of the things I can't ignore is the spirit of using folks. That right there, y'all, I cannot ignore that. I can't stand to see somebody being used, especially myself. I can't stand it. I mean, it just, for me, it's a straight turn off. I can't stand for somebody to try to manipulate another person and use them. You know, and we got a lot of that going on. And so, that's one of the things that the enemy know will set me off, is to see somebody being used. Because it makes no sense to me. Absolutely none. But, so then I react, right? Then I got everybody on my call out, on my inbox. Just ignore them, just ignore them. No, what they should have ignored me before they put this foolishness out. That's what should have happened. They should have ignored me before they came at me. So now I can't have a response because I'm supposed to go high. I ain't going high all the time. I know how to talk to God. I know how to explain to God what's going on. I know how to repent. I know how to ask God for guidance. But I'm not going high all the time. I'm going to tell you that right now. Sometimes I'm going to get you straight. I'm going to shoot from the hip at you, you know. And a lot of times I do it, you know, with kindness but firmness. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, right now, I'm just talking story to you. I ain't mad at nobody. And hopefully nobody's mad at me. I don't really care, though. I just really don't care. At some point, y'all, you can't care. And I'll tell you, at 50, listen, to me, at 50, you huddling the grave, baby. You don't know which way you get to go. You know, you're like, I'm huddling, honey. And I'm not getting ready to let the small stuff for real tear me down and send me to an early grave. I'm not getting ready to do that. I got some stuff I want to do. I want to go and get some of these, take some of these restaurants and stuff and put it on the show. But in order to taste these restaurants, baby, you got to have some coins. Because ain't nobody let you do no free reviews. Yeah. Ain't nobody let you do no free reviews of their restaurant. Restaurant connoisseurs have to pay in order to critique these restaurants. So I gotta get right so I can go and visit all these different restaurants. Now I ain't gonna visit Crocker Spot no more because I done been there enough. But the last time I went to Crocker Spot, they charged me a gratuity, and it was just me. And I said I wasn't gonna ever go back to Crocker Spot because I didn't appreciate being charged a gratuity and it was only me at the table. I didn't appreciate that. I like to give the waitress the tip that I want to give the waitress. And of course the gratuity was less than what I wanted to give her. I did give her the difference because I decided not to blame her for the rules of the restaurant. But they can't get my business, and they do have some delicious food, you know. So I don't know if I would ever be back, but I haven't been back anytime soon because I don't believe in you just taking my money. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't care. I'm sorry that your restaurant ain't doing what you thought that it should be doing because of COVID or whatever. But if I'm one person, I just can't get down with you putting a gratuity on my bill. But anyways, that's my reaction to their action, you know, and then I have a right to talk about it because that's my experience, right? Yeah, that's my experience. And so I just wanted to talk about that because people be so quick to say, oh, don't do that, ignore love, do this and that, people love you. You know what? People do love me. And I love people. And I'm the type of person that either you gonna love me or you gonna hate me. It's no in between with me. No in between with me because I'm not a faker. I can't fake it. If I pick up on the fact that you don't do me, then I'll leave you alone. I always been taught that you don't make people want to be around you. You don't want to make people to be around you. You don't want to beg anyone to be around you. If people ain't with you, they're not with you. If I don't mess with you, you know how y'all say, if I don't mess with you, I don't mess with you. And if you don't mess with me, I keep it groovy, baby. Can y'all still say that? I keep it real. I just keep moving. It's not that important. Everybody had their likes and their dislikes, and everybody's not going to like you, and I don't want you to. What I want you to do is, if you don't like me, right, don't play with me. That's my whole thing. If you don't like me, don't play with me. Keep it moving, but don't play with me. And that's what a lot of people do, you know, nowadays. They don't like a person, and then instead of just being real about it, they want to pretend like they got some kind of relationship with a person. But you can't like me and then you talk about me. You like me and then you don't like me and then you asking me, where's your hug at? You know what I'm saying? That is the foulest thing to me. The foulest. You don't like me, but you want to hug me? You want to pretend? You want me to think you like me? You don't like me, but you talking about me and stuff like that? So I'll leave you alone. I'll stay away from you because I believe I was raised. Now, I don't know about y'all. If you lie, you steal. If you steal, you kill. That's the way I was raised, because you'll lie, you'll steal, and you'll kill to cover it up. So I stay away from those type of people. I don't have to have you in my life like that. You know, I had a good mother, a good grandmother, 2 of them, and my upbringing was very good. My grandfather was present in my life until he died. You know, so I did have the love of a man in my life. Even though my father wasn't around, he loved me. You know, I knew he loved me. And, you know, but I had some difficult times growing up. You know, everybody had a bad story. Everybody got a bad story. A woe is me story. I got a woe is me story. I just don't really tell it, you know. But one day I'll tell it if I have to. But everybody has a woe is me story. And from your woe is me story, there is a reaction. There's a reaction to every action. There's a reaction to the way that you live, that you grew up. Lord, I want some noodles so bad. I just don't want to cook them. They can be so messy. Excuse me, y'all. That was just a different thought. But I do want me some noodles, some hot noodles at that. And I got some chicken and gizzards and all that stuff. But I want some noodles, y'all. But so anyway, so I'm just off thought. Kind of empathy. Okay, what I was saying was try to emphasize, try to understand people's situation, learn how to encourage better, learn better ways of encouragement, because you don't know what people's going through, and you don't know how someone's actions affect another person. Learn to talk soft-spoken words turns away wrath, but evil words stirs up anger. Okay, so learn how to be soft-spoken and understand that for every action, there is a reaction. You know, I have people right now that, and I'm just going to say this, people that knew me as a child, smiling grin in my face, but they really don't do me because I didn't grow up to be that obedient person. I didn't grow up to respect you because you were older. I grew up and realized that you was a follower. I grew up and realized that you were the henchman. You know, I grew up and pretty much lost the respect that I had for you. And, you know, I know you don't do me because I don't do you. You know, I wasn't raised to respect weak-minded individuals. I was not raised that way. You know, I was raised by women, strong women. You know, I hear my grandma sometimes, I didn't know she was that stupid, you know. She wouldn't say it to hurt anybody's feelings, but she would say it to let me know that that was not the way. You know, you can't be that dumb, you know. You got to think. You got to be in charge, you know, when you're supposed to be in charge. Now, you can't be a leader without being a good follower, but you got to know when it's time to lead, and you got to know when it's time to follow. And so I lose respect for people that, you know, don't know when it's time to lead. You know what I'm saying? If I'm 80 years old and I'm still following, there is a problem. I have missed my shout cue. I have missed my time to lead. I'm 80 years old and I'm still following folks. I'm still easily to be influenced. There's a problem, baby. There's a problem. And the young people looking at you like, what is going on here? This is somebody that I looked up to. And I'm like my mommy don't like this word, but I'm like, and they just a flunky. Y'all excuse me. Mama don't like when I use that word. But where y'all think I learned that word from? My mama. That's where I learned it from. Just a flunky. But just remember, lighten up on folks. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know how they're affected by what, happens to them. Everybody can't control themselves. So give them kind words of encouragement. Don't tell them you need to do this. That's the worst thing you can say to a person when you're trying to encourage them. You need to just do this. You need to just let that go. You need to just ignore them. That sets folks off. That sets folks off. Because don't nobody really want to be told, adults, even children, they don't want to be told what they need to do. Sometimes it's best to say, hey, let me encourage you to walk away. If I was you, this is what I would do. It's only how you present it. But ain't nobody trying to hear you tell them what they need to do, especially when they hot and bothered. Hey, what you need to do is get out my face. You know what I'm saying? But, I appreciate the women that comes to me now. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate it. Let me tell y'all another thing, too. Let me just say that. There was a time a few years ago, back in 2020, before that mess happened, that scandal with me and my people. I hung around so many preachers. I mean, I knew them like the back of my hand. I knew who they were. I knew their churches. I knew a whole bunch of preachers, right? Do you know that not one preacher, wait a minute, I take that back. One preacher reached out to me in an effort to resolve what the issue was that I went through in 2020. Only one preacher. All these preachers that I knew, all these preachers that I respected, not one preacher reached out to me and said, Minister Love, do you have a church home? Minister Love, where are you worshiping now? Not one preacher out of all these preachers, not one reached out to me. Not one of them. I did secretarial work for several organizations. I was the go-to person. I could put programs together. I typed up. I made stuff happen. But not one preacher cared about my soul. Let me just put it out like that. Not one of them cared about my ministry, cared about making sure that I was anchored in the Lord. Not one preacher reached out to me. All these preachers that I knew, all these preachers, hey baby, hey Minister Love, hey honey, hey sugar. Not one of them. One did invite me to speak at her church, but not one preacher asked me, how is your soul? How are you doing mentally? Do you need some counseling? And I'm going to tell y'all the truth. If it wasn't for the fact that I went to school for religion, I probably would have left the religion. I probably would have walked away from Christianity. I probably would have in 2020. I probably would have, because it was people that was a part of the church that came against me. And I can tell you that I understand, and I think I said this before, that I understand the reaction to the action of when you've been hurt by the church or been hurt by somebody that represents Christ, that somebody that didn't care how you was going to feed your kids, somebody that basically let you know that that wasn't important, that turned their back on you. I mean, and maybe this is my way of healing, so I'm going to talk about it. And I don't really care what anybody got to say, because what you going to do? Nothing. Not nothing. That's what you going to do. Nothing, okay? To have someone that you well respected put you out and turn their back on you and don't care, like I said, how you gonna feed your children, don't care about what you gonna do. Even if they had to get rid of you, they didn't even call and say, are y'all okay? How are the boys doing? Are you eating? Do you need anything? Did not care. And you, this was your world. This was what you did. You worked in the faith. You walked in the faith. And not one preacher. And they knew the story. They knew. Because I told it every chance I got. Not one preacher. That one preacher reached out and said, are you okay? Do you need anything? Can you come to Bible study? Why don't you come and worship with me until y'all get that over there straight? You know? And so I learned that I couldn't depend on anybody but God. Okay? There's a method to this story. I learned that I couldn't depend on anybody but God. That was my reaction to the action. That I can only depend on Him. Because I was anchored, and because I believed in what I was doing, and because I believed in Him, my action or my reaction to the action was to cling to Him more. I became more wise. You know, I was wiser after the situation because God showed me different things. How some of His people act. Okay? He showed me that everybody wasn't real. He showed me the routine of some of these preachers when they go out and preach, and then if you pay attention, every Sunday they hooping and hollering. Every Sunday doing the same thing. He showed me that. Pay attention to your preachers. Every Sunday they start off quiet in the pulpit, bring you in. It's for some of them, not all of them. It's okay, the internet, some don't want y'all to hear this, but every Sunday it's a game. You start off, you're slow. They say, you know, you get all hooping, hollering. They say, you know, you're shooting down the aisles. It's a game. Every Sunday. The Spirit hits you the same way every Sunday. It's a performance. It's a drama. Dramatic. I didn't see it at first, but God revealed all this stuff to me. He revealed all this stuff to me. When I was sitting here wondering why nobody reached out to me, why these people I worked with, I used to serve, haven't reached out and said, how is your soul? How you doing? How is your mind? Do you still love the Lord? Are you still studying? Let me give you some scriptures to help you get through this. Not one preacher, not one preacher, not one preacher in this Hampton Roads area reached out to me. Not one of the ones that I work with. But they want so much respect. I respect God. That's who I respect. I respect Him. So because I respect Him, I respect the man and woman of God. But personally, when you're doing ministry, you're supposed to take care of people. You're supposed to reach out somebody that saw what I went through. Now, don't get me wrong. I want no angel either, because there was a reaction to that action now. I talked real cash trash. I sure did. I sure did. And I was on go. I really was. I was on go because I was hurt. Okay? And it didn't matter nothing political. I was hurt by church folk. Okay? And so, yeah, I talk trash. Sure did. Sure did. But my thing was nobody reached out to me. Nobody said, do you need some help? Do you need some counseling? Let me keep you on the track you supposed to be on. Y'all failed me. You preachers, I don't care how you say it. I don't care if you said want your responsibility. Yes, it was. You failed me. You failed me. But because of my love for God, I was able to hold on. And I'm pretty sure you judged me because I said things that you probably wouldn't want me to say. You wouldn't want to acknowledge that I was a part of you. But that was, me being me being real, me being hurt. You failed me. All of y'all failed me. And I can say this because I expect nothing more from you. I expect nothing more from you. I don't expect anything from you because you gave me nothing. Not even a phone call, not even a letter, not even I'm here for you. You failed me. And I want you to lay your head down on your pillow tonight after you hear this, preachers in the Hampton Roads area, all of you who knew me and knew what I went through, you failed me. Because somebody should have called me. Somebody should have asked, are you okay? It's been 3 years since this stuff happened, and not one of you have reached out to me. You used to call me all the time on the phone because you wanted to know what's going on in the city. You wanted to know what the happenings were. But when I couldn't tell you what the happenings were because I distanced myself from that foolishness and that corruption, you didn't even reach out to ask me how was your soul. So you failed me. And I don't care how you look at it. You can say, I want my responsibility. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I was a minister in a ministry, and you failed me. And you knew my situation. You knew my pastor wasn't going to reach out to me. Because you knew it was between me and him. And nobody had the gall to reach out, the guts to reach out. Nobody. And I don't blame you, I can take it that it wasn't your responsibility, but yet it was. Yet it was. I was, what they call green. I was young in the ministry. Not too young. I got licensed 2010. But somebody should have reached out and at least said, are you okay? Somebody should have reached out and said, are you okay? But this is why people leave the church. That is the reaction for most for the action of church hurt. They leave it. They leave the religion. They don't believe in it. All because of how they were treated by church folk. I personally was on a different level. My faith wasn't in church folk. That's why I could get up and fuss and probably cuss too and go off on these so-called church folks. These old big wiggers that want to go to T.D. Jakes conventions and act biggity and uppity with your last few pennies. Hey, let me tell y'all something. Pray for me. Pray for me. But I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it real. Christianity is something else. You got everybody want to talk about Christianity, and we the main ones that don't do what we supposed to do. I bet you if I was another religion, I bet you somebody would have reached out. I bet you if it was the Muslims, I bet you somebody would have reached out. I bet you somebody would have gave me their hand to make sure they kept me up. I bet you. But y'all thought that I was going to go away and I was just going to hide and whatnot. Not this chick. I am Rosa Blunt's granddaughter. Rosalie Blunt. And if anybody know her, you know she didn't stop. And got dressed through pain. You can hear her in the bathroom crying and asking, praying to God. And she fought and fought and fought. And I knew when my grandma laid in that bed, she was going away from here. But she showed me strength. My mother showed me strength. My other grandmother showed me nothing but strength. So I wasn't going to just lay in the bed for y'all. I wasn't going to just go away. Oh, well, I'm about to end this because the network is messed up. But please know, I wasn't going to lay down for you. You know, my faith and my trust was in God. I could have used some compassion. I could have used how you doing today. I could have used just a phone call to make sure I was okay. But I didn't get it, and God still brought me through. And I'm going to continue to push. I'm going to continue to make noise. And I'm going to continue to pray to be able to forgive. I have to pray for my unforgiveness. I have to repent for that. But it's so hard whenever you think about somebody didn't care enough to make sure that you was okay, you know. So may it be. This is my reaction to the action. Somebody told me the other day, you're going to have to let it go. I do have to let it go. But when it go, it go. And if it's still here, it's still here. I'm not going to fake it and say it's gone and then it's not. And then I'm still looking at your side eye. I got to pray this thing away. And I ask that y'all pray for my strength. I ask that. I ask that you pray for my strength. And I ask that God send me a pastor. That's it. Send me a pastor. All right, y'all. Y'all take care. Remember, God loves you. I love you. Make sure you love yourself. Then you can go on and properly love someone else. Until we shall meet again, may God bless you real good.